Hello my tarot friends, it's Justin Michael. Welcome back to my channel, and of course welcome if this is your first time visiting. I appreciate you stopping by as always. It's been a while since I made a video. I haven't really, especially I haven't been outdoors, and I think since last year actually. I think in the fall. I could be mistaken about that, but I haven't made a video, like a pre-recorded kind of content for my channel in at least a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I wanted to get this video out, and I've been thinking about it for a while. I have a couple that I wanted to do, and this is one of them. But I'm outdoors today. I'm in Glen Olden Park. I said, let me get some sunshine and some exercise and some fresh air, and hopefully make a nice video. So I apologize for the noise. You might hear some traffic, some airplanes, and cars going by, kids in the distance playing. That's what you deal with when you're outdoors, unfortunately. Or fortunately, it's kind of nice, kind of adds something to the ambiance, I think. So I'm going to start off, first off, all the decks I'm going to show you today are black and white decks. They're monochromatic. And I don't have a whole lot of them. In fact, I'm very much a color person. I think most people are, but sometimes you come across a black and white deck that's just absolutely special. So I'm going to show you all of the black and white decks, at least most of them. I might have missed one or two. I didn't go through every single deck. I think I have like a couple stragglers, but for the most part, this is all of them, because I don't have a whole lot of them, you know? So I think it's a little extra work for a creator to create a black and white deck that is as nice as something with color. I think that's true of art in general, but it's a different style, and I don't want to knock anybody's art style, but sometimes you come across a black and white deck that is just absolutely stunning. So this first one I'm going to show you is actually my newest one. I just got this this week sometime, in the beginning of the week. Now, this wasn't even on my radar. It's called Tarot of the Abyss. It's by Anna Turin. Who you will know from, she did the artwork on the Bone Stone, and she was involved in a few other projects. She's very well known, and this wasn't on my radar, but a friend of mine who lives overseas asked me to pick him up a copy because it doesn't come out there for a while, and that's a whole other story. But I did that, and I was looking at the artwork, and I was like, wow, this is actually a really cool deck. You know, it's got a lot of symbolism. It's a very deep deck. And I love US Games decks, so I couldn't pass up on it, and it was only $20-something. And so well, I'll talk about that in a second, but so let's talk about Tarot of the Abyss. So I believe, and this is going from memory because I read the book a few days ago, Tarot of the Abyss is a title that she came up with. It's sort of like a creation story, like out of the abyss, out of the chaos, came humanity, and it's like sort of an origin story, and that's basically it with the title of it. I do encourage you to read the book if you get it, and it's just such a beautiful package. So it's a 2-part box, US Games quality for a $20-something deck. This is unbelievable, and this is what you'll hear me talk about, indie quality versus mass market quality. Sometimes I've been disappointed the last few times on Kickstarter because of the price I paid versus the quality that you receive. This is eons better than a lot of the decks that I've gotten on Kickstarter as far as quality. First off, it's a heavy paper. You can feel it. It's real cardstock, and it's US Games, and of course US Games has that reputation of having a really good cardstock. And then it comes with a nice book, which is thick. And there's a lot of information in here that is going to be important. It's a Rider-Waite Smith style deck, but it's a lot. There's a lot more. So I'm going to show you here. So let's take a look. These are the backs, and let's take a look at the full here. Very kind of traditional Rider-Waite Smith full, but it has that pen and ink style. It's just a lot of detail, and it's very much to my liking. She's on the edge of the cliff, and she's got the wand, and when you read the book, she points out a few extra details that are in there. And of course, now we have the magician. This isn't really a traditional magician like you see with the 4 elements and stuff in front on the table. It's more of like a Celtic kind of style magician. As above, so below. You have tree branches going into the earth, connecting him to the earthly realm, and you have the branches growing out of his head, which connect him to the spiritual realm, to the heavenly realm. And then he's got the element of fire there in his hands. And when you read the book, she points out a lot of this stuff. It's really kind of cool to read about, and it's packed with nuggets of information. For instance, so now we have the High Priestess, and she has the yin yang in her hands, and then you'll see she has keys there. There's 3 keys, and I believe it's the keys, let's see, to the heart, mind, and soul. So she's like the keeper of the heart, the mind, and the soul. And you know, you have the moon, the crescent moon above her head, and some of the other classic high priestess symbolism. But you know, this is really something that I just really like. So here's the Empress, and just so beautiful. She's birthing the world around her, you know. So, you know, I often hear people complain about pregnant empresses. I don't mind a pregnant empress because I find that that's a beautiful thing. It's what that, you know, maternal energy is. It's very much Mother Nature birthing the world around you, you know what I mean? And that's, I think this captures the Empress very well, and it's just beautiful. It's like very Demeter kind of energy, and it's just absolutely beautiful. But, so I'm going to go through this a little faster with the Emperor, and because I have a couple decks I want to show you. The Wise one instead of the Hierophant, which is, I think, is just brilliant, you know. And this has a lot of diversity in it, but it's very genuine diversity. It's not forced or commercial, you know. Love that. The trees on the Lover's card, it's something different, you know, and it's nature being represented in something that typically you see people in. It's really beautiful. And here we have the Chariot. So this is just a really cool deck, and I love it. I've been reading the book, playing around with this deck, and I just can't wait now that this video is over. I'm going to shuffle it up and start reading with it. But there's a lot to it, you know. It kind of reminds me of like the Mary L a little bit, in that it's like, except it's a lot nicer than the Mary L, I think, because I'm not like a huge fan of the Mary L Tarot, but it's a very deep symbolic deck. There's a lot of symbolism, and is what I mean by that, you know. It's a serious deck. So you have the Hermit here, which is very cool. I think, was she involved in the Mary L? I think she was. Forgive me, I'm not like a big fan. People are probably shaking their heads at me, but I wasn't really a huge fan of that deck. I do own it, and I am sitting in the class with Elemental Cardamancy. He's doing a monthly class. He has two monthly meetings. One is on Zoom, and one is live on a Thursday. If you're interested in the Mary L Tarot, definitely check him out, because it's a free class, you know, basically. He's sharing his knowledge about the Mary L, and it's really interesting, and he's learning as he goes too, as he says. This is Justice. It's a very interesting Justice card. So, okay, the Hangman is definitely another one. So, you know, looking at this at first, I was like, what the hell is going on here? But it's basically just an upside down situation, you know. This is really a card that you want to turn upside down, but I'm going to have to sit with that one. I don't really get it fully, but I think it's still beautiful, and it's an interesting concept. Here's Death. Temperance. Little alchemy there. It's really cool. The Devil. And our Tower. Beautiful star card. Okay, so instead of Judgment, we have Awakening. Which is kind of cool. And the World. And that's very that's just so profound and deep, and you know, it's really provocative kind of images, you know, thought-provoking. So now we're at the minors, and I'm not going to show you all of them, but there are a few important ones I want to show you. So we have the Ace of Swords. I'm gonna go through this pretty quickly. It is Rider-Waite-Smith style. Two of Swords, That's a really cool Two of Swords. So with the Three of Swords, now we have 2 cards. So you have this one here, which has to do with like sort of penetrating, you know, knowledge in some sorts. It's like something like, you know, that idea of 3 is creativity and, you know, productivity and, you know, having to do with the intellect, you know, because it's a Three of Swords. But then you have the Rider-Waite-Smith sort of traditional kind of heartbreak Three of Swords too, which, you know, it's nice that we have 2 of them. I'm going to keep both of these in there because I don't mind, you know, reading with extra cards in the deck, and I think that both have specific meanings, and it's kind of like having an extra cards. So here's the Four of Swords. It's interesting, you know. 5. I could have done a whole video on this tarot alone, but I'm showing you just my black and white decks. So 7 of Swords. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit because I'm not going to have the time to show you everything. I think, is it the 10 of Swords maybe? Yeah, there's 2 tens of swords, 2 10 of Swords. So, you know, again, knowledge and fulfillment in this 10 of Swords. And that's a beautiful card. And then you have this 10 of Swords here, which is more traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, which is, you know, completion, but in a bad sense, you know, not being able to take any more, and, you know, he's pretty much dead on the ground. It's nice to have both, you know. Let me show you some of the core cards, because the core cards are important. Okay, so here we have the Page of Swords. Knight. Just a beautiful deck. I mean, this is something that's stunning. I just love it. Queen. And the King. And while I have them out, I'm going to show you the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands. This is kind of cool. I'm skipping around a little bit. This is a 10 of Wands, which is kind of cool. You know, very Rider-Waite-Smith. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's good, and you know, you get a pretty good idea of what you have in this deck here. So now, as far as other decks that I have, as far as monochromatic decks are concerned, this is one that I recently got too around Christmas time. It's called Faeles Arcana, and it's a cat-themed deck, you know, which I don't like either too much. I don't often have cat decks because I feel sometimes they're just, there's no depth to them. They're good for collection pieces, and you know, you have one that you really like or whatever. I have a couple. I have the Grimalkin too, which I like. And there's a few other cat decks, despite the fact that I do love cats. I just don't have a lot of cat decks. But this was a really beautiful. A friend of mine told me how nice this was and said I would really like this, and she was right. And I was just happy to get it. Nice box. This is very indie quality and very high quality cardstock. And let me just show you. So this is going to be mixed up probably. Yep. These are the backs, and so this is the imagery I'm talking about here. So it's very black and white, but a lot of detail, and it's very Rider-Waite-Smith and all cats and stuff, and it's really, really cool deck. It's got this silver gild to it. The cardstock is just amazing. Did I show you that one already? Death. The 9 of Wands there, right? So you could see it's very Rider-Waite-Smith. I'm not going to waste too much time showing you this. Let me show you some of the majors. Here's the Fool, which is really a cool Fool. Judgment. And the Seven of Wands. So this is Faeles Arcana, and this doesn't come with a book, but the artwork's really, really nice. You can get this on Etsy, actually, and I'm sure they have some still available. Let me show you the Brian Williams decks, because these are decks that I use all the time, especially this one. I've been reading with this one all week. I find this deck to be a really accurate reader and profound. Like, it just really speaks to me, this deck, when I'm reading with it. The cards are a little big. First, let me show you the box. So this is Destiny books, and the cardstock is not the greatest, but it's not bad. It comes with a big book, which I've never even opened. I don't think I've ever even looked through this book, because I don't feel like I need it. I just kind of read these intuitively. The images are, I used it one time in a group, the Sit With Me group that I attend, and I found it to be like just a really great reader, and I've used it many times since then, including last night. I did a reading for someone, and it was just really, really great. The cardstock is a little kind of thin, on the thin side. So Brian Williams created a few decks. He's now left us. He's passed away, but these are the backs. Or the elements on the backs. So he's passed away since, but he created, let's see if I can remember them all. Well, I have two of them here. I have the Ship of Fools Tarot, which I'm going to show you. This is the Tarot of Shadow and Light, and the other one I have is the Renaissance Tarot of his. But it's just a deck that really speaks to me for whatever reason. It's very cerebral and very chatty deck. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Here's the Fool. So these are all mixed up. I'm not going to put them all in order because, you guys know the order of tarot if you're watching this video, more than likely. Okay. All right, here's the Hierophant. I don't think this would be for everyone, but I gotta tell you, man, I really like it. I really, really like this deck. It's just, some of the cards have like alternative meanings. Some of them are very similar to like what you see in Rider-Waite-Smith, and then some of them are very different, It's the High Priestess. Can't do anything about the train, unfortunately. Okay. So I love making outdoor videos, but then it's like, it gets frustrating because I'm like, I don't feel like editing for 1,000 hours. I don't have that kind of channel. I share stuff. I'm not like a professional YouTuber where I have time. I'm going to just sit and edit friggin' videos all day. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. The other Brian Williams deck is Ship of Fools Tarot, which I absolutely, I like it a lot. It's a very cool deck, but I almost never use it. But I do like it, and I feel like I'm going to work with this eventually. Particularly when I'm thinking about the Fool, because the theme here is the Fool. That's basically the theme. It's called Ship of Fools, and so I have an Oracle deck too, which is based on the archetype of the Fool, all the many archetypes associated with the Fool. I think this is yeah, this is Llewelyn, this particular deck. The cardstock is a little better than the other one, which says a lot about that, because if Llewelyn cardstock is better, you're in trouble. Although some people like Llewelyn. Some people like Llewelyn. The cardstock is thin and easy to shuffle. So I find that they get damaged easy, Llewelyn. Especially if you riffle shuffle, I find they get nicked up very easy. So let me show you some here. This is the backs. Similar to the other one, I got the Four of Swords. Three of Staves. So I'm just showing you random cards here. It's the Lovers. So the Fool is actually the Vagabond, which is kind of cool. And it has a big book associated with this deck as well. So, you know, I would imagine there's a lot of thought behind it. I didn't spend much time with this deck at all, in fact, to be quite frankly with you. There's the Empress. Pope. So, yep, that's one of my other black and white decks. Not something I use all the time, but it's cool, and I like having it. I wouldn't part with this. I like Brian Williams. I do. I think his art style is cool. He also is kind of a legend, a tarot legend, you know. I'm going to have to fix that before I leave, so I'll just put that there. So let's see, what's next here? I showed these. Let me show you this one here. This is a US Games deck. It's the Hermetic Tarot. A lot of you are going to know this one. It's based on the Order of the Golden Dawn Tarot, you know, but it's all black and white, and it's very alchemical symbolism. You know, it's has that alchemical kind of manuscript look to it. I don't know who created this. Godfrey Dowson. Or it's just based on... This actually might have been done by... the artwork of Godfrey Dowson. I thought it might have been a Stuart Kaplan deck, but it's not. So for US Games, the stock's kind of thin. This is an older deck, though. So let me just show you a couple of them. This is the backs here. You got the Ten of Pentacles. So it's very much a pip deck kind of thing. Shit, I'm dropping them all over the place. Okay, so you have the Two of Cups, which is, they all have little titles at the bottom. It's very esoteric. Lord of Love. You have the Chariot, which is the Lord of Triumph. Triumphant something. Triumph Light. This actually reminds me of the Tarot of the Holy Light. In fact, if you like Tarot of the Holy Light, you might like this one. Except Tarot of the Holy Light's not Golden Dawn, but it's, you know, got a lot of alchemical stuff in here. Okay, so the Six of Cups is Lord of Pleasure. Knight of Cups. It's interesting artwork, you know. It's, again, this is a classic deck. It's one of the first that I published, if I recall. No, not the first, but I got it early on. It's a pip deck, you know, but it's a busy pip deck. It's got some other things in there. And as far as the majors, which is what I'm looking for right now, kind of all mixed up. Yeah, so here's the Universe. The Tower, which is called the Blasted Tower. Lord of Hosts and the Mighty, something like that. Devil. Death. And so I think you get the idea. It's a very interesting deck. It's a little... I don't know. It's a nerd deck. You know what I mean? It's something, if you're into esoteric stuff and the Golden Dawn, you know, you might like it. I find it to be a nice piece to my collection, although I haven't really worked with it, to be honest with you. This is something, you know, very small. It's simple. It's a pocket deck, but I happen to really like it. So the Lifeline, the concept is all artwork that's drawn with a single line. In other words, drawing on the paper without lifting the pen up. And I just happen to like it. I saw this on Tom Benjamin's channel. I really liked it, so I got it. And it's a bridge-sized deck. And let me just show you. Okay, so they're not going to be in order, but here's the Wheel of Fortune. It's very, very Rider-Waite-Smith. Kind of reminds me of, you know, Etch-a-Sketch. There's the Star. And like I said, I do have a full walkthrough of this, I believe. I did show a lot of this on my channel, and Tom Benjamin also has a walkthrough of it as well. Here's a couple of the core cards. It's a really cool deck. Here's the strength card. Hierophant. You know, it's very different, very cool, and it's just fun. It's very cute, and I like it. It's a lot of fun. So the last thing I'm going to show you here is a deck. It's actually a majors only deck, and it's one of my black and white decks. In fact, I might show this in another video on my majors deck. You know, my majors only collection, which I'm going to do soon. But this is basically, created by Robin in, less than a couple of days. I think he said something like 24 hours or something. But it's majors only. There's the Chariot. Okay, it's the World. Lovers. Here's Judgment. And I like having this because it's something created by a friend, and I also think it's kind of cool to be able to create sort of a minimalist deck in a couple of days. It's just something I haven't read with it. Actually, no, I did read with it once. I haven't read with it much, but the art is kind of, it's a little eerie. I find the art like the character. It's a little kind of, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's just, there's something about it that's like it's deep, like there's just, I don't know, I can't really explain it, honestly. But anyway, that's it. That's all the decks I want to show you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And yeah, until next time, love and peace.